Hey there, I'm Tom and I'm building an ancient Greek city in Minecraft. So far, we've built two major sections of my city. My personal farming area with a starter house, and a fishing village with some small farms, and an ancient Greek style temple. And now it's time to move on to the main city, where I'll be showing you my 3 best tips on how to build your own city in Minecraft. If you want to see more of this type of content, be sure to let me know down below in the comments and also hit that subscribe button while you're at it. Now let's get into the video. Here are my 3 tips to focus on when building a city in Minecraft. Planning the layout of your city, functional infrastructure, and details and landmarks. Let's start by planning out the city. Here you'll see I took an aerial shot of the space that I'm working with, and this is a sketch of what I want my city to look like. I want my house to overlook the ocean up top, a large temple in the center of the city, a shipyard over on the left, and a few statues dotted around the city. After sketching out where you want your buildings, break those buildings up into districts depending on what kind of purpose they serve. So an easy way to do this is to make a building for each village or profession. I group my villagers together into similar professions for my districts, and you can use this for your city planning. And the last part of the planning phase is to pick out a theme for your city. This could really be whatever you want. For example, you could be a pirate or a Viking, but for my theme, I'm focusing on ancient Greece. And by role playing your theme, it really helps to hone in on the immersion of your city. So now that that's done, let's move on to tip number 2, functional infrastructure. So now that I've got my roads laid out, it makes it a lot easier to visualize my city. I'm going to be treating my city as a base, and I want it to be as functional and aesthetically pleasing as I can make it. And so that starts with making my roads flow as nicely as possible, while also adding some side roads and back alleys just to make sure I can access each part of my city. So let's start with my house. This house is going to have general storage and act as a starting point for me to build my city. I had already made a starter house in the farming area, but I'm going to be changing the block palette and style just a little bit, just to differentiate that starting farming area to the actual city itself. I want my house to be on the coast of the city. You may want to put yours in a more central location to easily access other things. Starting with your own house can help set the scale of the rest of the buildings. My house will keep its own storage system, but I also want to incorporate the rest of the city with different items based on the districts that I create. I'm going to show you the interior of my house that I created just to give you the idea of the style I'm going for. I'm taking a lot of my inspiration from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I really like a lot of those big houses that you see in the major cities, so I wanted to try and recreate that for myself. You can really get inspiration from anywhere, whether that be games, movies, books, or even anything you see in real life. The important part is to make sure you feel immersed through the way that you build. So now that I've finished my house, the next thing I want to build is a cobblestone farm. I plan on using a lot of stone within the city, so a cobblestone farm just makes sense to make as my first farm. But I'm not going to build it near my house. I'm actually going to build it off the coast on the south side of the city, for a good reason too. By making my farm further away from my house, it forces me to walk to the stonemason district where I can gather my cobblestone, which adds even more to the immersion of the city. I'll also try to fit my buildings around the farm so that I can have a full-size cobblestone farm hidden within the stonemason's house. You won't even notice the cobblestone farm is inside the building until you look inside the windows. You can see a little bit up top here and a wall of leaves down at the bottom. And if you walk inside and come downstairs, you can reach all of the cobblestone from beneath. And if I want to reach the farm, I'll just come upstairs, up to this platform, and press the button to start the farm. And you see it's working pretty nicely. You might wonder, why is it not blowing up my building from inside? Well, these waterlogged leaves are a really cheap blast resistant block to use inside the building. And you can check out the farm design in the description below. The building itself is done, but it is missing those details that show that people are actually around here. Which leads me to tip number 3, which is details and landmark. If I walk around my building, you can see I've already laid out some floor plans for the smithing district. I can fill out this space with as much detail as I can to show that the stonemasons are really hard at work. And by keeping everything compact, it gives the stonemason district a much more immersive feeling to walk through. When thinking about what kinds of details to add to your city, think about it as if you yourself was someone living in your city? And what kind of things would you see when walking around? When you're living in the stone district, you're going to see lots of stone cutters, refined and unrefined different types of stones, maybe a dock with a loading station, a crane to move all the different pallets, along with some trees and landscaping and small decorations. To add some final touches, I want to design a bridge to connect my starting area to the new city that I'm building. And also finishing up the main road, where I'll be branching off into different districts in the city. Now here's a final walkthrough of everything I've built so far for the stonemason district. And you'll notice I did leave this centerpiece open because I wanted to ask you, what kind of statue do you want to see in the center of this road? This is the main road that comes directly off the bridge. So what should everyone see once they walk into the city? I hope these 3 tips help you build your next city. Now, this is actually episode 4 of my Ancient Greek series. So if you haven't seen those, be sure to catch up on those because I'm going to continue building this city. This city is not going to be built in one episode. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can follow along as I build my Ancient Greek style city. I'll see y'all later.